Hello and welcome to Community Viewpoint. I'm your host for this segment, Maria Guerra, and I'm so happy to be joined today by these lovely ladies, Dr. Swarts and Barbara Stiffler from Swarts Pediatrics. And thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
So let's just jump right into it. So tell me, you are opening a new practice here, but you're not new to the community.
Correct.
So what brought you to Pahrump in the beginning? I know you've been here for years, but in a different practice.
Yeah. I actually came here because I had a non-compete clause where I was in Las Vegas, so I had to get out of the Vegas area, but we didn't necessarily want to move, and I kind of fell in love with the population around here.
Well,
so that was almost 6 years ago now.
That is awesome. And I know the population has also fell in love with the two of you.
Well, thank you.
And
Thank you.
I've been hearing, just around town, everybody's very excited for you to open your practice. So let's go a little further back and tell me, what brought you into peds?
Well, just some family medical problems initially set me on the path toward medicine. But then our third year, we kind of go and do 2 months of each general specialty. And at the end of that third year, I realized that the only place I was actually happy was in pediatrics. So that's how I ended up in pediatrics.
That's awesome. Well, I think it was a great fit.
Definitely.
And Barbara, what got you into pediatrics?
Well, ever since I was little, I loved taking care of kids. And I always knew for whatever reason I wanted to be a nurse. So I always figured I'd probably be a pediatric nurse. I did spend some time doing adults and realized adults are not for me. So it's just something I've always wanted to do. So.
Well, we are so grateful here in Pahrump for you both to be here. And it's been a struggle in this community to get pediatrics here. I know at times there's been, in years past, there's been no pediatrician.
Right.
So I know that the community is very grateful, and we want to tell the community about your event coming up, which is your grand opening. And I think we have a flyer. And we'll put that up there in a second. And so tell me, where are you located? Where's your new office going to be, and the name, and let's go over that.
Swarts Pediatrics. It's at 1280 East Calvada, of course, in Pahrump. It's actually just a hop, skip, and a jump from where we were, but it's in with the Terrible's Casino.
Yeah.
It's in that lot.
There's a lot. I love that location. I'm so glad you picked that location because you have a close place where you can go to lunch, of course, and that's important. You never want doctors to get too hungry. So, well, because they have important jobs. Like doctors and nurses are important people, and they're busy. And I know that in the past, just the medical field in general, doctors don't get a lot of time to eat. So we're very glad
you
that
eat while you're charting,
Right, exactly.
Right. So, but also there's the Nevada State Welfare Division is right there.
Right.
And another exciting new business is there.
Very exciting.
And that is therapy blocks.
Yep.
And so you're both going to have your grand opening on Monday?
Yep.
Together.
September 6th. So if you're watching this after the fact, it doesn't change the location or the contact information. So you can still find them. And we can put up the tags too at their location that you said, 1280 East Calvada. And your website is super cute too, schwartzpeds.com.
Yep.
And your phone number, I love that too. It's 910-910-910 PEDS.
Yep.
So if you forget the 7337, which is also pretty easy to remember, you can just dial PEDS.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. So tell me, I know that you're looking to be like an all-encompassing practice. So I know already you're going to do vaccines right off the bat. So those are coming, and I know that that subject, I think probably partly to do with COVID and the vaccine, but the subject of vaccines in general has been a buzz around. But I know that they're super important.
Yes,
and
very.
Getting the kids vaccinated to get to school is always a struggle during school year. So, so if you are watching this in the future, you can get an appointment way in advance before your child has to go to school. So
there's always a rush there.
Yeah,
Summer.
Yeah, there is always a rush. So summers are probably pretty busy with vaccines.
Yeah, so definitely if you bring your child in when they turn their birthday, because that's scattered throughout the year for the most part, it tends to be easier to get in.
Yeah, and they can do that from between 4
And 6.
Like
Yeah.
between 4 and 6.
Yeah.
All right. And then what other kind of testing are you going to do there? Are you going to do like lead testing and labs at some point?
We're going to end up doing definitely like hemoglobin to check for anemia
Oh,
and
great.
things like that. Depending on how it works out, there's been the lead tester, there was a recall with it, so we're still kind of
Okay.
figuring that out, but we can take some blood and send it to the
Oh,
pharmacy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or not the pharmacy, to the lab. And
Okay.
so that way we can do all that right there for them. And then as far as for sick kids, we're going to actually have a COVID test, so that way we can go yes or no as far as do they need to worry
That's
about it.
great. That's great.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
it's not
awesome.
going to be for like everyone, just our patients, but
Right,
um,
right.
but yeah, that way.
But if
we
they
kinda know.
present with the
Yeah.
symptoms, then you can
Right.
give the parents an answer right there.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I know there's one other feature which I'm particularly fond of at the practice, and that is the outreach room where
yes.
Whit can go visit. So, so I really love the idea of the all-encompassing practice, because you're not gonna have to go to Vegas to get a practice that has all these services.
Right.
You can do your
Right.
sick visits, your well visits, your vaccines, and get some outreach. And you've been great advocates to refer to services. I know that it's a pretty close-knit community, and you are definitely a very important part of this community.
Thank you.
So thank you.
To go along with that, that's why we're so happy to have therapy blocks
Yes.
next to us.
Yeah.
It's been-
Wonderful.
Yeah, not only can we have, Nevada early intervention if we need it, but
Mm-hmm.
they can also then have therapy blocks who does their occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy. And they've been established
Yeah.
in Las Vegas for a while, so it's great that they moved out here.
That's fantastic.
It
And their
is.
facility is right next door, and it's a beautiful
It
facility.
is. It's gorgeous. You did a great job.
Yeah, he really did. And will people have a chance to tour the practice and the therapy center on Monday?
Yes. And we'll actually, one of the things that the kids can help us with is we're going to have essentially finger paint like paint.
Okay.
And our walls in our hallways are boring, they're a boring gray. So they can do handprints along our walls. And then
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then, once it's dry, we'll do a clear coat over it so it won't wash away.
That is awesome. So this is super exciting.
It is.
So if the kids go down for the grand opening, you can actually be a part of the practice and carry over for years and years.
Yep.
Exactly.
I
your
love
handprints
those
forever.
ideas. That's great. There was a school out here that did that years ago, the Old Manse Elementary, which is now the campus for Nye Communities Coalition, which is another awesome agency. But they still have all those handprints from the kids in the cement out there. It's so cute. I love that idea. And the practice is actually a lot bigger than you think from the outside. In there, you have, how many patient rooms do you have?
We have, let's see, what is it? 7 actual set up. And then there's 2 rooms, like for moms if they want to breastfeed right after.
Oh, that's amazing.
We've set that up.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, after shots, a lot of kids want a nurse. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Plus, if it's the right timing, it's, you kind of got to do it when you got to do it.
Yeah.
So we have rooms for that. And
That's
then,
awesome.
We've got a little bit of extra space too that we're trying to figure out what we want to do with.
That's awesome. So there's lots of room to grow.
Yes.
you know.
Yes, there is.
That's great. And I love the nursing rooms. That is something that I know it's a big struggle, like in different communities across the nation, to try to get businesses and providers more engaged. And so if you're a provider across the nation and you're watching this, I'm sure you could contact Dr. Swarts and Barb Stiffler and find out about their nursing rooms, so you can also replicate that in your practices.
Yep.
So that's a bright, shining example to everybody.
well, thank
So
you.
It'll be
I
a great
love that.
thing.
And the lobby is very big too. I did get to take a tour last week of the practice, and it's so cute, and it's all themed.
Thank you.
It's all themed, so the kids, I think they're going to feel super comfortable there, and just really calming environment.
Yeah.
Really calming
Trying
environment.
for some colors and things like that they might like.
Right.
So,
And I saw minions too, so that was cute.
yes, very much so.
So tell me about the grand opening. So what time are you starting that? I'm going to go too. So
Yeah, we're starting at 4 and it goes
Okay.
until 7. There will be ribbon cutting at 4. And then I know Therapy Blocks is also having some restaurant type carts going to be there. So there'll be a little bit of food. We're going to have a whole big tub full of water, bottled water and
Gotta
stuff
have
for
that in the
everybody.
desert.
Exactly. And then just a few activities. I believe there's going to be a bounce house, and he's got some art stuff that Tom at Therapy Blocks is doing. And then we're having, like I said, the handprints, and everybody can kind of go through and see what's there.
that's amazing. That's amazing. So what made you want to start your own practice? Just so that you can, I know we have a minute left, so you can just give it to us in a nutshell.
So basically, after Intermountain left, it was a big decision. Do I stay or do I leave? And we knew at that point if I left, it would be leaving the area totally. So we ended up going with Silver State, where it was good. But the problem that we had is we lost all those people who had insurance who then couldn't see us. And we were so used to seeing all of the kids that it kind of broke our heart a little
Absolutely.
bit.
Yeah.
And that's really what made me kind of decide, okay, let's do my own route and we can see everybody.
That's awesome. And so you're contracted, and you're in the process of contracting with even more.
Yep.
But you're contract already with insurances like HPN is probably a big
We're working
big
on that one. Yep.
And Medicaid and Blue Cross.
Yep. We're in a lot of those processes now.
And I know with all different places, there's so many insurances. So even if you don't know, call and find out. And you could even initiate a process too, I'm sure, if there was some other insurance.
Right.
And a lot of insurances will let you go if you're more than 50 miles from another provider. So
Which we basically are
Yes.
for pediatrics.
thank you so much for coming on. I wish
Thank
you
you.
all the best at your practice. I know it's going to be amazing. As we wrap this up, we're going to go out with the website, swartspeds.com or 910-7337 or PEDS. If you forget that, just set 910-PEDS. The grand opening is Monday, September 6th from 4 to 7. It's going to be fun. Get your kiddos there so they can get their handprint on the wall. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And I'm John Pawlak. I'm your host today for this segment of Community Viewpoint. And my guest today is Tonya Brum. You may have seen her all over the town.
I'm a busy
At the
person.
station and in many other places. She's going to be a representative for a group called Indivisible.org. But before we get into that, let's talk about an award that you were awarded that was in the paper anyway. It's the Governor's Points of Light Award recipient. So what's all involved with that?
My boss, Sandy Severance, who I work with for RSVP Retired Senior
okay.
Volunteer Program.
I can never get that right.
And
Okay.
I know, it's because I say it so often that I get it right.
Yes.
But it's in recognition as a community leader and being involved in community projects, and RSVP is so important to this community.
Yes.
And it was such an honor. And the whole thing that got me involved in nonprofit at all was Willie Bear 38 years ago. So thanks to Willie, it ended up being with me getting the Governor's Points of Light. And it's especially privilege to be in a state that actually has a Governor's Points of Light recognizing volunteerism.
Oh, yes.
It's the
Because sometimes
backbone.
they're taken for granted.
Yeah, they are truly volunteers are the backbone of all organizations that use volunteers. So I'm very proud.
Yes. Because I know when I was working for VetTrans, when I don't have other jobs, they usually grab me. But I did a few jobs for you guys for RSVP, going down to Vegas for the the clinic for the hospital there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. And that was the whole day.
It is the whole day. Yep.
I'm perfect for that because I love driving. You know, and
Oh, you can come back to volunteering for me. I could use the drivers.
yes, it's comfortable if you know what
Yeah.
you're doing and you're not afraid of the highway. So I've been doing that for many years, just like volunteers do. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, excuse, yeah.
There
I think
you go.
That's what it's called, and
Yeah.
that's why it's there, and it is so important.
And you're going to be acknowledged October
14th.
over at the Mandalay.
I
Where is it?
thought they said the Mirage.
Mirage. You're probably right, because Mirage Hotel and Casino
Yeah.
in Vegas, I think it's 3 to 5 p.m.
It's
streaming.
Yes, I know. I did the piece for it last week. They interviewed me for it. And then plus I have to go down there, and now my kids and my grandkids are saying, I want to go, I want to go. So needless to say, I have to figure out how to get them in there. So, but they do have seats available. It is open. I think the tickets are $30 per person.
Okay.
So it's very exciting, and it's very meaningful, and that's what people have to understand. Volunteers are critical to the community, and everyone should find something that they have a passion for and volunteer.
Yes, because we have to volunteer
Mm-hmm.
because there's other people who are making all the money and they're not sharing it.
And not sharing it.
But anyway,
Hence
that's a
the
different program, isn't it? Yes.
Hence the need for volunteers.
Yes, and we're there.
Yeah.
There's good-hearted people besides ourselves. They're
Mm-hmm.
out there. They're watching the show. I see you right there.
Yeah, so do I, and many of them, if they're not now my volunteers, they have been in the past in
Yes.
any number of ways. So we have a really good community for that. We really do. People do pull together.
Yeah, so I congratulate you for that.
Thank you.
Yes, because I've known you for a whole bunch of years, and
Yes.
that's something that's part of it's in your spirit. So thank you for that. So what you came on here originally for was something called Indivisible.org, and that's some sort of a grassroots program. Tell us about that.
The goal was initially it tends to be progressive. It's nonpartisan. The goal is actually to enhance our communities in transparency. The overall goal is justice for all, equality for all. And the truth of the matter is, if the Equal Rights Amendment had passed in the 70s, so much of what's going on now wouldn't be. And it's a matter of making sure that people are treated equally no matter what. And it's the transparency, to me, is probably what's most important, is our governments need to be in a window, not behind a brick wall. And what they're doing, we need to know about.
That's so secretive, yes.
Yeah, and it's bad for the community, it's bad for the county, it's bad for the country. And what our goal is to bring all of that to the forefront, improve our school systems, improve our streets, improve everything that impacts everybody, not just making sure that the people who want the money are getting it.
So the Invisible.org organization, it focuses on 4 different aspects. It's what I pulled off of it was focus on climate justice,
Yes.
economic justice, healthcare justice, and immigration justice. So some of those are more common sense than other for certain people, but I get all of those. Now,
Yeah.
climate change, we're under another heat dome. We're supposed to be hot next week again. We've been in a sort of a, for the last 20 years, we've been drying out the Southwest.
Yes.
And
Saturating the East.
saturating the East, true. And water levels are going down. Lake Mead is the lowest it's ever been since it was first built, and there's things that are blaring us in the
Yeah.
face. So
I mean, other than a bat upside the head, it's really fairly obvious that this climate change is something that we're responsible for, and we have to take responsibility. This is the only home we have, folks.
Yeah,
if
we
we
can't wait for-
destroy this, it isn't like we can move.
Yeah, we can't wait for Musk to build
Yeah.
something on Mars.
Probably it'll take after we're all gone.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's, you wouldn't do to your home what we're doing to the planet. And the planet is everybody's home, and that's why that's one of our key focuses is on making sure we pay attention to this and do something about it, not just talk about it.
Yeah, that's the environmental part, the climate justice. Economical justice?
Women are still making 71 cents an hour to men's $1 an hour, and when you get into people of color, they're making even less. It shouldn't be that way. Economically, and you see all the poor areas are areas where there are people of color, and that's because the way the economy is structured, and they've been doing tests on this around the country about how a person of color is stigmatized even in selling their house or in buying their house. So that it should, you want to sell your house, what's the market value? And not being redlined and all of the things that are going on, but the fact is that there's equal pay for equal work. It doesn't matter if you're green with purple polka dots. Equal pay for equal work is only, that's just common sense.
Oh, I know some women that are multi-billionaires in their own right, but unfortunately they belong to the Walton family. So,
and then there's that.
yes,
No, and that's true.
they were given all that money. They were born
Yeah,
into that.
They haven't earned a dime.
But they're not sharing it, though.
No. Oh, God forbid.
Yes.
You know, they have to build another yacht.
Thank God for volunteers. Oh, there we go again. So, the healthcare justice?
That is a true soapbox because every other country in the civilized world has universal health care. What it means is that the tax dollars that you're paying and that I'm paying, that everybody else is paying, is actually going to benefit the taxpayer. Oh my God, I can't stand it. It's so logical. Mm-hmm. And that's, every other country has a universal health care. No one has to file medical bankruptcy. Medical bankruptcy in this country is a standard.
That's
People
really unfortunate.
die of treatable illnesses because they can't afford to buy the medicine. If you want to get help, you have to go through hoops and dodge this one and that one and go after this one and go after that one. It takes you forever. And yes, so, and that's, again, that's good for everybody in the long run, and it doesn't cost anybody. It would actually save hundreds of billions of dollars a year.
Yes. But that's for another show, too.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
We'll get back to that.
Yes, and there's another one, the immigration justice, which is kind of...
And that's, the entire system has to be overhauled. And I don't know how that's going to be done, but it has to be done. Why we don't understand why someone who wants to come to this country, we're going to the shopping mall, can get you shot and leave their country. How bad is their country if this is what they want to come to?
Yes.
And but it's a whole system that has to be upgraded and brought up to, let's see, what is this year, 2021, right?
No.
And we're not there, and that's a must-do, and that's the other thing. That's among the things we're fighting for.
Well, my grandparents were immigrants, but we could talk about that
Yeah.
for...
Mine are too.
Yes.
On my dad's side.
So looking back, we're just 2 generations away from being immigrants, so we could be in the same boat if we were born earlier, we were in their shoes. So try to look back at that and see what's really happening.
And appreciate the cultural differences and what they bring to any environment. Cultural differences is what makes humans humans, and it's what makes life interesting.
So these are some of the things that your group stands for. And any the last words on that for this segment?
We're actually going to be at Fall Festival, so you can come and see our table.
Oh, lucky you.
Yay!
Yes. And that's
Wouldn't
later
miss that
this
for a
month.
word.
Yes. So,
Yes, it's the end of this month. And we're always interested in people joining the group, and there'll be more about that, especially at Fall Festival.
and what's the name of your individual group?
We're
Indivisible
Prickly
group?
Pears. Prickly Pears means people engaged and actively resistant.
Okay, I'll go along with that.
I had to write it down.
Okay. But I want to thank you for introducing us to indivisible.org and coming on the show today.
You're welcome.
And we will see you next week. And thank you very much for watching. And this is Community Viewpoint. Remember, RAM is coming. The right
Yes,
side?
don't
Yeah.
forget.
October 2nd and 3rd. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, John.